All right. Hey, everyone. How are you? Was super excited there. I've had a lot of energy. So I'm popping up here doing a live pop-up coaching session out of just my, of course, love for what I do, the energy that I have, but the desire to be out creating and spreading awareness and spreading my mission for this movement, the Conscious Strong movement. And it's all about you, and it's all about making an impact in the overall health and well-being of others. So I'm just going to pop in here, and some may pop in a little on the late side, so that's totally fine. There's no late here. It's just popping in to get the support that you need. And we're just going to let it roll and see where we go with that. Okay, so when I am teaching, it is all about how do you establish that relationship with the resistance that you have. So whether it be in your movement practice, so for instance, I have here just a little bit, you can't really see it, but my equipment. So this is working with resistance, right? So I'm pulling and I've got a spring load, that's resistance. But how do we, relate that to your everyday living? We have resistance thrown at us every moment that we are breathing or even sleeping. Resistance is constantly coming into us. What we as a human need to do is find out how can we balance that resistance? How do we learn to read what that relationship is with the resistance? There's a push and pull in everything in life, from the human physical body to our human mind, and how we relate that to our landscape and navigate our way through our spiritual health, our emotional health, our physical health, and so on, which I'm going to be bringing forward those here shortly. So I am offering this free coaching session, and for anyone that does want to pop in with some questions, that is where we really deep dive into the depth of the work. The more that are participating through conversation is where you start to find answers that just might click for you. So this is not about me. This is not about Lauren's method. It is just the gift that I've had over all these years of being in the space that I'm in, the movement space, but also the healing space, and that I am just considered a guide here. You are the star. So to get started, it's very important that you always have something to take note with. I'm a huge advocate of writing. I'm a huge advocate of introspective writing, because that is what helps you tap into that deepest part of your being, your core. And when you are able to, not just note take and not just write in a journal what you ate today, not dissing that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but this is where you really start to connect with the words that you are writing on paper. So an example of how I take notes when I am in a session that has impact, I literally extract the words that connect with me. So it may not be the full sentence. Don't worry about writing a whole sentence. All I want you to do is extract from the language whatever stands out for you, because that is what's going to make an impact for you, not anybody else. So just because I'm sitting here rattling off a lot of words doesn't mean that those words are going to be what connects with you, right? It's going to be just those few impactful words. That's kind of the less is more approach or analogy, is that less is more. So if you write words that just have a deeper impact and meaning for you, that's when it's going to make an imprint in here. So have something handy here as you're taking notes, but again, just make it simple. Don't make it complicated. That's what happens all of the time, is that we overcomplicate the noise that's out there. And that's when we all stumble and we end up suffering. So, all right, so we're down to the note taking. So I'm going to go kind of deep into the work that we do here, that I guide here at Conscious Strong. And in the curriculum, I'm going to do a light version of it. So know that after this, you can always message me I always encourage booking a call with me, because that is what's going to give you the greatest impact. Is when you take those notes, your simple notes, those notes that only resonate with you, and you bring those forward into a conversation, that is when you go to the next level. That's when you make a huge impact. And it can happen very quickly. It can happen extremely quickly. But then what we deep dive into is, how can you take what you now are experiencing as a positive shift and have it last? Because that is something that we know we see all the time, is that you try a diet, or you try, you follow a guru, and you follow them for maybe a good minute. And then all of a sudden you see the book ends up just being there on the shelf, and you never pull it back again. It's only collecting dust. So I don't want this to happen for you. I want this to be something that lasts a lifetime and gives you a lifetime of joy. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on, because I know I went on a lot of different platforms very last second. So just pardon me if I'm looking away, if I'm trying to figure out if somebody is wanting the link. So here we go. We're going to start deep diving into I'm going to say the mission and the vision here at Conscious Strong, but also the culture. So the culture here is a no judgment zone. Absolutely no judgment. Self-judgment, no. As judgment of another, absolutely not, because that kills the energy, that kills growth, that kills everything, and that leads to more suffering. So I am just going to have to say that that is an absolute no for here, and a non-negotiable. So if anyone does start to push out some judgment, then I will just have to ask that we kindly remove you from the space. So no judgment zone. We are only operating here out of love and kindness and helping one another grow, not trying to push people down, including yourself. That is first and foremost, is do not self-judge anything, because you are powerful. And let's see, any other kind of housekeeping? I don't think so. So as we move along, please just message if you have any questions, or you need to, and you just want to know more, then please, of course, book a call with me, because again, that's going to be the easiest way. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're just going to dive into, this is I did this so spontaneously, so I had to pull up my old notes, but that's okay. It's all the same. I can just speak through it. Share my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up this. So this was from one of my previous master classes, and it just is really a basic overview. You can disregard this to the left here. But what I want to just bring forward, and, I'm not a fan of any fancy, I just feel like we all try to get sparkly and having a fancy name and, fancy logos and all those things. And that's not my jam. It's just not how I really roll. But what I do want you to see here are the foundations of what I have, grounded here at Conscious Strong, that is the footprint. And that is, we're going to move over here to the pillars first, because they're going to make most sense. Spiritual health, just first and foremost, we're going to deep dive into your spirituality, your spiritual health. Without it, in truth, all of these other areas are going to suffer if you don't have a rich relationship with your spiritual health yourself. And then emotional health, and we have physical health, and then nutrition, hydration health, and sleep health, very important. I'm always a sleep lady. And relationship health, and financial health. So with all of these 7 core pillars, yes, I'll be right with you. And yeah, okay, thank you. Yes, still interested. So sorry for that distraction. I'll try not to get too heavily distracted. Again, I'm just throwing this out very last second. So these are the 7 pillars that we work on here at Conscious Strong, and each one has a key role and then some, in how you navigate and operate through your life. because with one clunky part, you're going to have another clunky part. And we're going to get to that will here in just a moment. What I want to touch on very briefly too, without it getting too overwhelming, is that I also have the principles that I work with. So we have the pillars, and then I have the key principles. These key principles I really have used over my years as a master Pilates instructor, but they really have a significant role and play in how we navigate all of these pillars. So we have our breath, we have centering, the act of centering, concentration, meaning focus, control. Do you have control? Control over your emotions, just to throw out some example, control over your body. Precision, how precise and lasered can you be without it disturbing you and disrupting your life? Flexibility, we all must have some flexibility in our life, otherwise you will very quickly break. And then we have flow. And the flow state is actually the ultimate, that is where we want to be always in life. So our flow state is definitely where you want to find ultimately. Now, it's very easy to get out of flow state, but optimally, if you can touch it and feel it and experience it, you're going to, again, relate to it, and you'll end up having it more accessible to you. Flow state, what does that mean? It means that you're flowing without major disruptions. You're not allowing, the guy in the car, who flipped you off, to send you over the edge, and you're screeching and flipping him back and yelling in the car and raging. A flow state means that you're just moving at ease. And a flow state, in essence, really means, in truth, that you are in the here and now. You're not worried about what other people are thinking. You're not worried about what's going to happen in the future or what happened in the past. You're in the here and now. And that is when you're ultimately in that flow state of living. So I'm going to move along now, because this is it's a lot of information to pack into just a last minute pop-up coaching power session. So the next we're going to go to is the will of life. And so this is what I always start clients out with. Disregard what's on the right, disregard the spiritual health right now. And you'll see here the will of life, where I've pulled over the 7 pillars and the 7 principles that are in a little pie here. You may have already done a will of life before. There are many out there, many models of this. But what is so useful in the will of life is just being able to gauge where you are right now. So I say spend, a good, really 15 minutes, 20 minutes of being in each of these pillars, and be honest with yourself, and sit with each one, meditate on it. Where are you really? If we were looking here at the physical pie, where would you say you are in relation to your physical self? How is your relationship with it? Are you down here? Are you feeling a total disconnect to your body? Are you not loving your body? Are you feeling, as many things that I've heard, I don't like my body. My body is not the same. I want my old body back. I don't know whose body this is. I feel frumpy. I hear that a lot. I feel soft and pudgy. All of those, are areas that maybe give you a negative feeling. So you would rate that kind of low. But if you were saying, man, I love my body. Yeah, not always. I feel bloated today because I know that I ate. Let's go over here to nutrition. I ate some beans yesterday, and my body, even though I know they're good for me, doesn't like it. So the fact that I'm feeling bloated makes me not really kind of feeling icky. So do you see what I'm saying? Get real with it. Don't just do, oh, I'm feeling like I am a 10 because I have hard abs. Be really deep, not superficial, but deep with it in all of these. And so 20 minutes really isn't enough, but you can come back to each of the pies. Maybe you write about each one, because I can tell you, the more you sit with this will and each of the pies or each of the pillars, that is when you are going to go deeper to where you're going to make an impact. Living out here on the surface never, ever, ever, ever wins, and you'll be falling and crashing before you know it. That's kind of like the resolutions. That's why they don't work. All right, so I'm going to come off screen and just kind of speak to this. So I'm going to ask that all of you now spend a little bit of time with the wheel of life and quality time so that you can have a deeper impact. And it's at this point, after the wheel of life has been thoroughly, connected within you, that's when I ask you to book a call with me. Because when you can, soon after you have made that connection to yourself in all of those areas, all of those pillars, that is so forward that's when I want you to get on a call with me so we can really talk it through. Because when you talk it through, now you're going deeper. Okay. So now you're really taking it deep. So if you're doing this outside of this and you're watching this recording, outside of this live, practice this exercise. And again, I'll drop the link for you to book a call with me, because that is when you're going to have the deepest impact. It's a no sales call. It is all about you. It is not anything other than me loving the work that I do and wanting you to get the best out of it. So really, I could stop right there. And that is work in itself that is going to have so much impact on helping you discover more about you. But I'm going to take you a little bit deeper today. Okay. So I told you Lauren is wanting to really make an impact, and I'm going to give you a lot of information today. But again, any questions, you now know what to do, is book a call with me. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. So let me go back and share screen here. All right. So we're going to move through some of the pillars. I'm not going to I'm probably not going to get to all of them, but I am going to, sorry, somebody was kind of popping in here, but they can't see them now. I have been having a little trouble with Zoom. So regardless, this is all recorded. So I'm going to be sending this out to everyone on the email list that, so you can watch it if you wish, This is all for just if you want a little dose here, you can have it. So as I talked about spiritual health, here is a guide that I use that can help you just start to connect with how would you rate yourself spiritually? And this has nothing to do with religion. This will only enhance your relationship with your religious source. This is about you connecting to your spiritual self, and that is your soul, your purpose, and who you are, not how, not in terms of an organized religion. I have faith myself. So I love, building and deepening that relationship with your religion in your source, but this is not what we're talking about. This is about you. So I am in defining who your source is. And so I do ask that you bring your source into this work. So there is that. And then I'm going to move now next to the next frame would be emotions. And how are you emotionally? Like, what's your emotional baseline? And a lot of people ask me, well, what does that mean? So your emotional baseline is when you can bring your emotional awareness from my teaching, your emotional awareness. Oh, I am feeling really triggered right now, and I am so angry. I can't even, and you're spewing and you're screaming and you're out of control. And you wake up the next morning and you go, oh gosh, why did I do that? That's just an example of not being aligned with your emotional baseline. Because think of a seesaw. When it dips too low and it starts going this way and you can't recover, that means that you are not in alignment with your baseline. That is what we work on. We help uncover, where do you fall in this wheel of emotions, core emotions here, and then how it starts to translate out into some of these more superficial, but yet need to be addressed and uh, and know when you're feeling even, let's see if I can even read it. Furious. Okay, so that's pretty intense in my view. Angry, furious, jealous, selfish. So you just want to be aware, like, what triggers you, number one, and what emotion comes out, and how can you bring yourself back to a very stable or even baseline. Okay, your physical self. Physical self is all about your physical body. And I'm going to come off screen for that one because we all have a very special, unique physical vessel here. And it is really our honor and our duty to take care of our physical self. So if you're disconnected from your physical self, you are likely you're likely suffering. You're like maybe anxious, or you're feeling all of those negative emotions, or you are obese and you have some conditions like obesity, which is rampant, here in the US and elsewhere, but you start to experience dis-ease if you are disconnected from this special vessel that each and every single one of us as a human have. It is our work here at Conscious Strong to help you love this vessel so that you can then express it out in your everyday acts of living. So understanding your relationship with your body is going to, and I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, just like I'll share here, is that your physical self, your body, and how can you attach to your physical awareness? Not negatively attached to it, but positively attached to it. And then we're going to move over into our nutrition and hydration. And this is just a very light version. These are just very much surface for you to understand your nutrition health. Like, where do you rate yourself? Nutrition, your hydration, your gut health. Do you understand your gut health? Your skin is your biggest organ. We need to nurture every part of us. So how do you nurture yourself nutritionally and from hydration so that you are living optimally? And a self-care plan. So how can you start to create a self-care plan? And then we're moving into the sleep and your sleep hygiene. How is your sleep? Really understanding your sleep. I go deep into sleep because I feel sleep is where we restore. Sleep is where we discover. Sleep is where we can repair a lot of even trauma. And if you're not finding adequate sleep, if you're not allowing for adequate sleep to occur, you are only exacerbating whatever your trauma, whatever your suffering is. So we must establish a deeper connection to our sleep health. Then we have our relationship health. So a lot of what we've covered, and coming off screen again, a lot of what we've covered has a tremendous impact on our relationships. Because if you are, let's just use sleep deprived and you're cranky, emotions, right? We've all been there. It's like everybody gets on your nerves, even those that you love the most. And then you lose that emotional baseline. Maybe you fly off the handle because you go into that extreme fight or flight mode. And let me just say, you got your male energy going attack. Then what does that do to your relationships, whether it is in your intimate personal relationships, or if it's with your children, or if it's in the office, if it's at work? It's having a tremendous impact. I also loop in this relationship pie or pillar. It is community. So how do you start to build your communities by deepening these relationships with your circles from professional to personal? It all makes an impact, because without community, again, you're going to suffer. You really will suffer. And being able to communicate effectively in your relationships and in your community is when you're going to start finding that flow state in your life. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing. I just had to pop in because when I pop out, that means it's an important piece. Okay, and then it's really looking to what are your core values? And this I should probably even put in the very front. I think it should be done twice. What are your core values before you even start to think a little bit deeper in this way? And then putting it down here at the end, when you've had the ability to go a little deeper in, it will likely shift your core values. Some of the things that you may have put on before doing some of this deeper work and may seem a little superficial to you now. So just understanding your core values and, always knowing who am I? Who am I? I am blank. I am blank. I am a mother. I am an entrepreneur. I am a believer. I am a runner. I am a coach. Whatever those are, you create your I am statements. I am powerful, and then start taking it deeper into those those words of affirmation statements. Make them powerful. Create your I am and make it powerful. And then you can start reciting it every day. And this is something that we do really a lot of work on here. Then we move into the final, which is a huge one. Financial health is a huge, huge, huge player in the pillars of life and the will of life. And it's an area that I see even here in the movement space, really making an impact emotionally, physically, relationship wise. We know it can truly make it can make life very, very clunky if you don't have a strong relationship with your financial health. So we really go deep into the financial health. And I have some colleagues that come in and help guide in my area of coaching that we've partnered to where it's a beautiful relationship that have years of experience in helping if you're needing extra help, but they will be coming in. That is, if you work with, if you're working with me, but they help a lot of my clients more than what I work on in the financial health arena or the nutrition health arena, or a lot of these areas. I always bring in other experts because that's when you're going to get a little bit more of a nugget, hearing it from a different language, hearing it from a different tone makes a huge impact. And the finals. So that was financial health is the final. So, I invite you in. This is now just an appendix that I'm not going to share with you, but that is an overview of how I work with clients. That is how I can help you really deepen the relationship with yourself. So most people come to me wanting their physical body to be fit and ripped. But the takeaway here is that you're never going to be fit and ripped if you don't go in and do the deeper work. And over all of my years of doing this work, this has been years of pulling together this content, years of pulling together this curriculum that makes a permanent impact, not one that's temporary. So when you say, I want my old body back, that's a very clear sign that what you've been working on is obviously it's not working to support you. What we do here at Conscious Strong, what my mission has been over all these years and pulling together this content, is to make it lasting, sustainable, so that every passing year of your life, you are feeling your best. Even on the days when you're not feeling your best, you're not knocked down. You're able to get back up. There are always those days that we need to rest and restore. There are always those days that we're going to be slammed with life, because that's a human experience. But if you do this deeper work, I can guarantee you, that's a guarantee for me, that you will weather through whatever the storm is, and you will come out on the other side strong, back where you were. Just like the analogy of riding a bike. Once you learn, pretty much can memory get back on. And that's what we work on here as a life skill, as a pure life skill. So I hope you have enjoyed this free coaching session. And I want to thank all of you for watching. And again, the best way to get the answers is to book a call with me. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, or I'm going to email this recording as everybody asked. And you will have this recording. And again, just go through it, watch it, maybe watch it again, maybe take your time on the wheel of life before you book your call with me, because that's when you're going to have the greatest impact. And just know that I offer for the month of February a free breakthrough session with me. It's a 30-minute free breakthrough session. So I ask you bring forward all of your questions so that you can get the most out of that session with me. All right. Thank you so much for joining. And I can't wait to meet with each and every one of you. We'll talk soon. Bye.